Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me ask y'all a question. Everyone's getting excited, right? About December. Anthony Joshua fighting Wallin, Deontay Wilder fighting Parker, right? But it seems to me that the majority have already concluded that Deontay Wilder is going to beat Parker. I agree. AJ's going to beat Wallin. I don't agree. Yo, man, Otto Wallin can fight. Let me tell y'all something. This is a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. I think this is horrible, horrible matchmaking. Yo, on the biggest, so we got to understand this, right? That's old Otto Wallin, right? Before we get to that, put on some glasses. Before we get to that, when Anthony Joshua was put on the big stage in New York, right, to fight Andy Ruiz, I don't think Eddie Hearn really knew much about Andy Ruiz, right? They put him, Anthony Joshua, into Andy Ruiz, and things didn't go very well, did they? I can remember when they made that fight, I said, uh-oh, like MC Hammer, right? And I was like, yo, here comes the hammer. Here comes the Mexican hammer, El Mexicano. I said, damn, boy, they don't know nothing about Andy Ruiz. Now remember, from 2008 to 2010, I lived in Korea. From 2010 to almost 2016, I lived in Okinawa, Japan. So from 2008 to almost 2016, I was watching I've always watched boxing, but I was watching all the fights over there on the AFN network. And that's where I was seeing Andy Ruiz. I was like, yo, who's this little fat guy they keep putting out here in these matches? And I was like, yo, he can fight. So I saw that fight with Andy Ruiz, the European he fought right before AJ. And I was like, yo, this guy is a monster. You know, Andy Ruiz was taking shots, but he destroyed him. So when I found out that they picked Andy Ruiz to fight Anthony Joshua, I said, that's a suicide mission for AJ. I was like, if he can't knock him out, he is going to be in trouble. And I remember people were disagreeing with me. And I was like, shit, y'all don't know nothing about that little fat, chubby Mexican fighter who looks like a little kid, looks soft and doesn't look like much. He can scrap. Boy, when Anthony Joshua got into Andy Ruiz, everybody was laughing at Andy Ruiz. No one took him serious. Shit. When Andy Ruiz got up from that knockdown and put that heat, put that Mexican hammer, that he put that on AJ, a hush came over the crowd. People were in their house, man. People, you know, wives stopped beating their husbands, husbands stopped beating their wives. Everybody couldn't believe what they were seeing. Now, you fast forward now, right? Eddie Hearn underestimated Andy Ruiz. Anthony Joshua on the biggest stage of his career, trying to come over here and take over the U.S. He lost, embarrassed, humiliated. Now you're about to put this man on a huge stage out there in Saudi. Yo, horrible matchmaking against this guy. People, Otto Wallin is not Robert Helenius. This man standing almost 6'6", almost 80-inch reach. 14 KOs out of his 26 wins and only one loss, which he should never have lost that fight. That was the fight against Tyson Fury, where he broke Tyson Fury's face and split his face open, and they didn't stop the fight. They let it continue, and Tyson Fury went on points, which he should have lost that fight. That was just a little bit of that was just the goddamn Kinahan connection right there, all right? And that's what it was. I don't care what nobody says. We know for a fact Tyson Fury came back to the sport of boxing with under the help and guidance and iron fist of Daniel Kinahan. So, long story short, if you don't know who Otto Wallin is, right? Like a lot of people don't know who Andy Ruiz is. Well, I'm going to tell you who he is. You know, he's from Sweden, okay? Living out in New York. This guy is a southpaw who can fight. You know, he's a young guy, 32 years old. But I want to point something out to y'all. His trainer is Joey Gamache. Now, for those of you who are saying, okay, well, who the hell is Joey Gamache? Well, Joey Gamache is only a trainer who used to be a pro, who I think is a 2 or 3 time world champion in 2 different weight classes, and he knows boxing. And if you don't know who he is, I mean, unfortunate for him, he's the guy. If you ever see that video of Arturo Gatti hitting somebody with a lead uppercut, then right hook, then left hook, I think he throws another right hook on top of that. And the guy's just out cold, and he just goes out. That's who Joey Gamache is. But don't let that highlight reel knockout of him fool you. That guy's an outstanding trainer. Now, if you say, okay, well, who else has he trained? Well, I'll put it to you this way. You remember Teofimo Lopez when he was out here tearing up the 135-pound division? Teofimo Lopez fought Richard Comey. You know who was leading that training camp? Was Joey Gamache. Teofimo Lopez looked amazing, spectacular. The Teofimo Lopez went into the fight with Lomachenko. Teofimo looked spectacular, looked amazing. Joey Gamache, Teofimo's dad didn't have the money to pay Joey Gamache when Teofimo was going in against Kambosos. So Gamache wasn't in the camp, and you saw Teofimo went against Kambosos, and he looked lost, and he lost the fight and got knocked down. And Gamache never returned to the training camp with Teofimo Lopez. Okay, so that's why Teofimo Lopez, to me, has never looked the same as he did against Comey and Lomachenko, because they never brought Gamache back. So Gamache is the truth. But I'm going to tell you right now, Wallin can fight, he can box, he's slick, he's a counterpuncher, he can get to AJ. Now, the issue I have, right, is when we start talking about Anthony Joshua, okay? Listen, man, I've said this before, and I'm going to remain consistent, okay? This damn mouse acting funny. I'm going to remain consistent when we talk about Big Femi. Anthony Joshua should have never lost a fight, ever. That man should be sitting out here, man, with 29 wins and maybe, 26, maybe all 29 by KO. Things just went wrong with Andy Ruiz, all right? And Joshua's just never been able to recover. As far as the skill set and everything, there's no heavyweight that can match Anthony Joshua. Well, Usyk is pretty good, but Anthony Joshua is very, very good as far as his fundamentals and his skill set. But when you're kind of still trying to figure things out, and if you still have it, let me tell you something. A lot of fighters go through that. I'm not knocking that, right? I don't have nothing funny to say today about Anthony Joshua. But Otto Wallin is not a guy you want to go in. You don't want to go into a fight with Otto Wallin when you're sitting here looking at yourself and wondering if you still got it. Like that. That's just not what you want to do. That's a recipe for disaster. Do you understand what I'm telling you? That is a recipe for disaster. So when you look at Anthony Joshua's 26 wins, 23 KOs, let me tell you, almost 90% KO ratio, 6'6", 82-inch reach. We know he's fighting out the UK. Joshua can fight. But I'm not sure what Joshua we're going to get in the ring. I personally think Joshua should have, and still could beat every single heavyweight out there. But he's no longer Big Femi. He's Anthony. If he was still Big Femi instead of Anthony, then I'd be picking AJ over everybody, but it's not the case. So that being said, come back to what I was saying. Who's Waller going to fight when AJ loses? I think AJ's going to lose to Waller. I think he's going to get knocked out. I'm just being honest with you. I think Wallen's going to knock AJ out. And it's going to be embarrassing because someone's going to goddamn go out there and shoot Eddie Hearn because they're like, what are you doing to him? Why are you putting him in here in these fights? Stupid. You know what? You know who's the person you want AJ to fight going over to Saudi to look really good with almost a guaranteed win? The person you want to put him in there with is like a Franklin. You know what I mean? That's who you put him in there with. Matter of fact, while we're talking about it, let's see who some other names, because Anthony Joshua, he doesn't have any titles. Anthony Joshua can do what the hell he wants. We're gonna pull a name out, right? Let me pull this list up. We're gonna pull a name out of who I think Anthony Joshua should have been fighting. So let me just kind of squeeze this in together a little bit. I'll make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. So when you come and you look here, right? We know these are the heavyweights. Anthony Joshua at this point in time in his career, You don't want him in there with Usyk again. He probably can beat Fury, but, Fury and Usyk, they're trying to get it on. You definitely don't want him in there with Wilder at number 2. Hell no, you don't want him in there with Zhang. Parker, maybe. Hergovic, hell no. Anderson, maybe. Joe Joyce has to rebuild. Frank Sanchez, I'd say hell no. Wallin, that's another hell no for me. Okay? You want a guaranteed win for Anthony Joshua, not Wallin. So when I come and I just kind of peruse the racket stacks under each of these sanctioning bodies, who could they put him in there with? Where I would say it's a guaranteed win. Well, we already fought Jermaine Franklin, Daniel Dubois. I don't know. He knocked Anthony Joshua out in sparring, so I wouldn't put him in there with him. Hell no, not Makhmudov, not Jalalov. Dillian White, I don't know what's going on with him. Ajagba could be a good fight. I don't know why they didn't do it. When I'm looking at these names, man, I'm not too sure. Jared Anderson may be a good name, but Bob Arum's not going to do that to Jared Anderson. Gerald Big Baby Miller. That's who Anthony Joshua should be fighting. The whole world will be watching that fight. If Eddie Hearn would sit his pride aside and just let Anthony Joshua fight Gerald Big Baby Miller, I think Joshua beats him very easily. And then now you have even more of a storyline going into the Deontay Wilder fight. But that being said, we know there's always a change to the change to the change. But as of right now, what we know, it looks to be AJ going to battle against Otto Wallin. Or Wallin. But I'm going to tell you, I think Wallin knocks him out. So my thing is this. This is how the secret society works. If you let some people say, they ain't going to show no love to Deontay Wilder. Because Wilder don't have a connection. And everything that's happening over there right now is because of the UK boys, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. They got the connections. Wilder, if AJ's not fighting and the Saudis don't want Wilder over there, Wilder ain't going to be over there next year in 2024. But I'm going to tell you this. When AJ loses, because he's going to lose to Otto Wallin, right? I think he's going to get knocked out. What happens to Wilder in 2024? I mean, if they're expecting for AJ to win and for him to win and for the two of them to fight on the undercard of Fury and Usyk, when AJ loses, what happens to Wilder? Does he still stay on the undercard of Fury and Usyk? And if he does, okay, let's say AJ drops out. AJ gets knocked out, right? So who does Wilder fight? Well, I tell you what, the fight to make would be Wilder versus Zhang. That's the only name on here is Zhang and Wilder in Saudi Arabia. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That right there is the fight to make. I'm telling y'all right now, someone gonna get hurt in that fight, boy. That fight ain't going past 3 rounds. As a matter of fact, it ain't going past the first time Zhang let his left hand go or Wilder let his right hand go. Somebody getting hurt. Somebody getting knocked out cold. I'm telling you. Somebody gonna lose teeth. Matter of fact, one of them may turn into Alexander Usyk and develop that irritable bowel syndrome. Start shitting all over the ring if they get hit by the body shot, because them boys can crack. That being said, more to come. But I'm gonna tell you, out of everything that I said, people only hear what they want to hear. I am telling you, I think Anthony Joshua should have never, ever lost a fight. That's just how talented, how powerful he is, how skilled he is. But man, he ain't got it all up here right now. So I just got to be real, man, and say, I don't think he's going to beat Wallin, because Wallin can fight. But AJ, who's really together, I think he'd beat Wallin. And the big Femi from back in the day against Deontay Wilder, I think he'd beat Wilder. The reason why is because he would jump on him. He wouldn't let Wilder, even though Wilder kind of comes out a little bit fast, this Wilder is kind of coochie-cooing a little bit. Jab, moving, trying to use lateral movement. He's trying to be a boxer, floating like a butterfly. And that's good that he's evolving, but if Big Femi still existed and he was to fight Wilder, especially right now, Big Femi, not Anthony, I'm talking about Big Femi. Big Femi, in my opinion, would stop everybody because that guy was a bull. But anyway, Big Femi no longer exists. We're dealing with Anthony. So we'll see what's up. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, 7 continents. Hope they don't do my boy Wilder like that. Don't do him dirty. If AJ loses, man, keep Wilder under them undercard next year. Put him in there with Zhang. That's a bigger fight to me. Get all them damn Chinese people behind that. Boy, put that on pay-per-view. I'm telling you, man, they may do 3-4 million. But anyway, we'll see what happens in the breeze.